Hello and welcome to The Gist. I'm your host, Chris Vetrano, here to break down all the things happening in pop culture and interviewing the people that make it pop. It is 2025 and pop culture is already giving. And one of the biggest things in pop culture already happening in 2025 is, of course, season 3 of the hit series, The Traitors. It's back on Peacock, and they have already dropped 3 exciting and, I'm going to say, controversial episodes. So today on The Gist, we are going to break down all of that. But before we do, I just want to take a moment just to acknowledge everything that's gone on. This has been a crazy year already. I literally read something the other day that January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd was on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which is WTF. And I feel like, wow, it really was. There was so much that happened. But of course, the biggest thing is the fires that are happening in LA. It is heartbreaking. Most of us out there listening, I'm sure, know someone that has been impacted in some kind of way. Even the folks that live there, one of our friends lives there. They didn't have to evacuate, but they're boiling all of their water. There's smoke everywhere. It's dangerous to be around all of that, and so our hearts are going out. I have a friend who was impacted, who had to evacuate and lost everything, her home. And most importantly, I'm seeing there's a lot of celebrities that we're seeing that have lost their homes in the Palisades. And there's some horrible, horrible comments happening online. And I want to remind people that, yes, there are people that are very fortunate that have the means to replace the belongings that they've lost. But there is a lot of folks and most of these folks that will not be able to replace the memories. And that is the biggest thing, is there are family heirlooms, there are memories, there are photos, there are things that these people have lost forever. And so I hope that we can all send our support and send our love, visit the Red Cross to find out what you can do to help support them. But yeah, there's so much going on in LA. So I am sending all of the strength and best wishes to try to get through this time. But wow, what a year. What a way to start the year. But moving on to lighter things, let's talk Traitors, okay? Because if you're a fan of the podcast, you know that I am a big, big Traitors fan. Season 1, Season 2, captivating, right? Season 2 of The Traitors is truly one of the best shows that has ever been produced for television. And I'm talking reality TV, competition TV. I mean, the twists and turns, it's a thriller, it's comedy with Phaedra. I mean, there is so much. So if you have not checked out Season 2, now is your time. And also, if you have not seen these first 3 episodes that Peacock dropped, this is a good time to hit pause, okay? I'm giving you one warning. I will talk spoilers on this episode. So if you have not watched, hit the pause button. Go check out those first 3 episodes. That's all I'm covering today. So I won't talk about anything beyond that, but we've got to talk about it. And I'm putting it all out there because, like I said, some controversial takes to come. So Traitors, we're back. We have our king, Alan Cumming, and all of his glory is back. And we have started off with a bang, okay? So right away, things that are coming to mind, the cast arriving in their cars. We have housewife juggernauts. We have Dorinda. We have Dolores. Robin from Potomac, a little sleepy, but Chanel Ayan is in the house, bringing fashion. Housewives are covered in the Bravo spirit. We have Sandoval, okay? Literally, he shot this coming off of the peak of Scandival. Instantly, all the girls see him get out of the car and they're like, we're not talking to him. Oh gosh, no, I can't believe he's here. So drama right from the get-go. We have Sam Asghari, who many of us just know as Britney Spears' handler. He was married to Britney Spears. Instantly, I mean, within the first 5 seconds of him on the screen, we have questions about Britney. And he does not answer because, let's be honest, he would get in a lot of trouble if he talked anything Britney. He signed so many contracts that he cannot share his story. So yeah, we're not going to get a lot of Britney story out of him, but that's okay because we're not getting anything out of him. All right. I'm going to jump around on this episode too, because I'm just going to kind of talk in generals about some of the folks. But Sam is giving us nothing. Okay. I don't know that we've heard more than maybe 3-4 words out of him in 3 episodes. And my fear is that he's just going to be on. I thought he'd be like one of the first to go, that they would just like kill him or banish him early on. But I have this weird feeling that because he's not really like in the mix at all, he's just going to kind of go with the group, and he might end up like making it really far. That worries me a little bit. I didn't really want to give Sam a big platform, but yeah, we'll see. Who else is there? I mean, there is a lot of people now. Again, if you listen to the podcast, you know, I'm not like a big Survivor. I'm not like a big Bachelor person. I don't watch Big Brother. So a lot of these other contestants are new to me. So this is, you know, I go for my Bravo people. But the thing is that they win me over throughout the season. And so even though I may not come in knowing them, I get there. But we have apparently some huge Survivor people. Everyone's like freaking out about Rob, who they revealed in this first episode as kind of this guy that wanted to join the game. If somebody chose to shake Alan's hand, Rob could enter the game, and then the person that shook the hand got to eliminate one of the other contestants. Nobody did it. So Rob did not get to enter the game, but everyone was like scared of Rob. They were like, we don't want him to enter the game because he's one of the best gamers that ever lived. So, you know, that was the kind of their reasoning behind it, coming from Survivor. I don't know him, so I know love was lost for me that he didn't join the castle at that moment. But yeah, there's a lot of folks that I just like am not that familiar with. There's Gabby from The Bachelorette. I guess she was, you know, Bachelorette number 19, which is just wild to me. But literally in all the trailers and everything that I was watching, even until I think she mentioned in one of the episodes, might have been the first one, but she mentioned at one point that she was from The Bachelorette. And that's when it hit me that it wasn't Tara Lipinski. I thought that I was watching Tara Lipinski the whole time. Is anyone with me on that? Because this girl looks so much like her. So I was flabbergasted. Chriselle from Selling Sunset is in the house. Who else do we have? Sierra from Summer House. Of course, I'm like really hoping we get some Sierra. She's been a little bit of a quiet bird in these first 3 episodes. I'm really hoping that we get some. We get Dylan Efron, Zac Efron's brother, who no one's ever heard of before, let's be honest. I mean, he was like on a show with his brother. So why he got cast, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to be the dark horse because, one, he's the hotter Zac Efron brother, and he is kind of like nailing it. He's like on to all of the Traitors already. He is going to be someone to watch. We've got Bob the drag queen from Drag Race. Yeah, we've got some folks. And then we've got my Nashville friend, my old buddy from Nashville. He has gone on. He's been in The Bachelorette. He's been in, the Bachelor in Paradise shows. He is a staple now in LA, married to Sarah Hyland. My friend Wells Adams is in the cast. So I'm like freaking out. I'm so excited about kind of the introduction, everybody getting in. Instantly, we are off to the races. The first challenge was so wild that they had to kind of like keep giving people up, and the housewives just kept jumping off and being like, fine, I'll volunteer to like sit on this thing and not like row the boat any longer. And it's like, girls, everyone's going to come for you if you get off this boat. But they thought they were doing the right thing by being like team players. And literally then they became the targets. And that just rubbed Dorinda the wrong way. And everyone else kind of followed suit too. But Dorinda was like, she came back into that castle. She was ready to let everyone know that she showed up to make it nice. And yeah, they were not having it. And so she gave us a glorious moment of television in the way that Dorinda does. Everybody was like talking about how they were scared of her. So she instantly had a target on her back. And I'm just going to say, the first episode broke my heart because she was our first murder of season 3. And that's a crime. Okay. Like, producers should have stepped in because Dorinda could have been the gift that kept giving of this season. And I am shocked, appalled, and upset that they murdered her first. Okay. Oh, and I didn't talk about who the traitors were. okay, I'm assuming that you all have watched, so you already know this information. I just, need to touch on the basics. But we've got Bob the drag queen. We've got Danielle Reyes from Big Brother. Don't know who she is. There was some drama with her and Brittany from Big Brother, and they kind of like started to tell that story. So they picked her. And then Carolyn from Survivor. Okay, another girl, I don't know, but her lips are as big as Lisa Rinna's or bigger potentially. And I mean, she truly is a cartoon character. She's like fidgeting all over the screen. She, the minute that she got chosen, she licked those giant lips. She was so thrilled to be a traitor. But I felt like instantly they were like all giving themselves away. It was like so, I mean, of course, this is all production and editing, but it just felt so obvious. And then Tom Sandoval is like looking at everyone with this like really intense eyebrow stare of like, I'm on to all of you. And it was like freaking even the like faithfuls out. Like they were all like, ooh, what's happening? Like, is this guy like having a meltdown? Yeah, it was wild to see that like introduction, but I'm going to call it right now. I was really disappointed in the first 3 Traitors. I was like, this is not who I expected. I needed at least one housewife to be in there. I actually thought that Sierra would have made an incredible traitor. Dolores could have, but I actually want Dolores to be a faithful because I think she's going to be like an incredible, loyal faithful. But yeah, it was Dorinda got murdered the first time and they were happy to see her go. And I was not. So I was pretty upset by it. Then we get to the second episode and we learn that there are 3 more contestants. So Rob has entered the game. The team did not agree to bring Rob in. So, producers were behind the scenes are like, oh, we're already paying him the season salary. We got to get him on the show. So they find a way to bring him in. He's entering. We find out behind the scenes, he's entering the game as a traitor. Nobody will know this until the next murder. So nobody knows that Rob's a traitor. Then additionally, we have Wes Bergman. He was originally on The Real World Austin, but he's gone on to be on all the MTV challenges. And he's, he claims that he's like the best challenger that's ever been challenged and this like big gamer. Drives me insane. Can't stand the guy. He is horrible television. He just is so in love with himself that it's like hard to root for him in any capacity. So he's joining. And then this guy, Derek, who's from Big Brother as well. Nobody really seemed to know him much. So, but he's joining. So, but they're like, oh, all these great gamers are joining. A lot of men. Okay. I'm going to also say there's a lot of men. And in the challenges, there's a lot of like the men feeling like they're superior to the women. And Bob the drag queen does call that out. Bob Harper from The Biggest Loser, he's on. He also kind of calls it out a little bit. But yeah, they're now entering the game. They're going to sit through the first banishment. They're not allowed to vote, but they're going to get an option to kind of like see what's going on. They also can't be murdered. That's the twist. So they're entering the game. So then we get to the round table and out of nowhere, okay, like literally, I'm going to say something right now that nobody has talked about. And I have not seen this even in memes and online accounts. Nobody's talking about when it was revealed that Dorinda was murdered. Robin walks in and everyone's like, oh my God, Robin, it's Dorinda. If you're here, that means Dorinda's not. And Robin just looks happy as can be. I mean, she's sitting there eating with a big smile on her face while everyone's like, oh my God, and shock. If I was like trying to find people to be onto, I'd be onto Robin. Okay. I'd be like, is this like, did she know that? She seemed too comfortable. So then to go in to the round table and Robin is getting a little bit of heat, but I was like, okay, so Robin's going next. Like she has to, like there is no one else that like makes sense because Wells brings up his downfall, unfortunately, brings up that she said something like she defended the traitor's decision to kill Dorinda. And he's like, well, I thought it was a dumb decision. And Robin was like, I thought it was super smart. So he's like, well, why are you defending the traitors? So are you one? Because you seem real passionate about the decision to kill Dorinda. So that's his defense that he brings to the round table. She then turns it on him as like, well, you were the one that seemed all fidgety and weird when I was like, talking about it. And It did not make sense to me. I was like, okay, Robin is clearly getting voted out unless, what's the royal's name? I hate that they keep bringing these royals that we don't know. I'm like, this guy doesn't fit in. In a group of like 40-year-olds, having like a 60-plus-year-old in the mix, just sometimes it just doesn't like work out. And this is not me being ageist in any kind of way. It has nothing to do with age. It's just like, he's not connecting, but it's Lord Ivar Mountbatten. So Ivar and Dorinda got in a fight the night before. And so people were like, well, Ivar could also have killed Dorinda because she was kind of coming for him. So there are some clear people that I thought Ivar or Robin are getting it. People start voting and everyone's voting Wells. And then it's a 3-way tie and there is one person that can break the tie and they vote Wells. So we've now lost Dorinda, incredible TV, Wells, great TV, and now we go into the next murder. And this is when the traitors learn that Rob is also a traitor. And one thing is for sure about these traitors, they are not aligned. And instantly, Bob the drag queen starts throwing out Dolores' name. And I was throwing things at the TV. I was ready to rip the TV off the screen. You leave my housewives alone, Bob the drag queen. Okay? Don't come for them. And I was so mad that the name was getting thrown out. Robin's name was getting thrown out. Chanel Ayan's name was getting thrown out for absolutely no reason other than that, like, she was close to Wells. And Wells got sent home and revealed he was a faithful. So why that made sense, I don't know. So they're like, but there clearly is like no strategy. None of them seem to agree on anything that they're deciding. So you really don't know what they're going to do. So we get to breakfast the next morning. Everyone's arriving. Rob's at his first breakfast. He's now realizing like Danielle is doing too much. Carolyn is like a fidgety mess. Bob the drag queen is like talking too much, getting too involved. Everyone's like giving themselves away. And nobody seems to be onto it though for some reason. But from, a viewer's perspective, I'm like, this seems super obvious. And it's revealed that Chanel Ayan gets murdered. Why? No idea, other than that she was incredibly dressed and another housewife. And Dolores said it best, that it's no longer the traitors, it's now housewives hunters. And I think Bob the drag queen had something against the housewives. I think because the housewives always get all the memes and always get like a lot of the attention of the show. I think Bob went on and was like, yeah, I gotta like get them out early so that I can be the meme worthy one, because love Bob the drag queen, but doing far too much. Way too much is happening. But, if we had to lose a housewife, I'm going to say, Chanel Ayan, I'm so sorry, but you got to go. Because you cannot take my Dolores. And if they take Dolores next out, I'm serious. I am going to continue watching. I'm going to absolutely do nothing. Okay. I'm going to continue watching, but I'm going to be upset about it. Okay. So now we just all know where I'm going to be if Dolores is the next one. So we go into the next challenge. Again, I'm just feeling like nobody's really on to anything of substance yet. Like we've taken out all the wrong people and there's no real rhyme or reason. And we're not getting like the same kind of clicks that we got. We have what do they call themselves? The Bambis. It's the girls. It's Gabby, Chrishell, and what's the other girl's name? Nikki. She's from WWE, but she also had some show, Nikki Garcia, but they call themselves the Bambis. They're like the girls that are all getting along. And they are like kind of onto some things, though. Also, Chrishell had the round table moment when she voted for Tom Sandoval, who she's sitting right next to. And she did have a bit of a serve when she said a traitor lies, is unfaithful, cheats. And these are all traits that I know that you have. So I'm voting for you. Serve. Sorry. I don't care how you feel about Selling Sunset or Chrishell. That was a serve. And I'm here for it. I would love to see more of that energy. And then at the breakfast the next morning, when we find out Chanel Ayan is murdered, there's a moment, and I don't know if you caught this because it was really fast, but they're showing Tom, he's taking his sweater off in the back corner, and his pit stains on his t-shirt are running down his whole body. These are the biggest pit stains. It is 10 a.m., sir. You are at breakfast and you are already sweating this much. It was so, and then like also you're on TV. I don't know if you knew that, but like maybe you don't take that sweater off. Like you might be warm, but I'd probably not show that. It was real wild. But yeah, so then we get to our next banishment, and it is not looking good for Bob the drag queen. Doing too much. Dylan, Efron daddy, is calling out Bob. Is like, this doesn't make sense. You were the one that fed everyone Wells' name, and then you didn't vote for Wells. And then he had some other theories, and he really was onto something. And Rob, who is actually, again, I don't know him, but is kind of showing his power in this like gaming space. He sees that everyone's kind of turning on Bob, the drag queen. And he just throws out, he's like, I don't know, no one's talking about Tony. Tony is also from Survivor. They seemed to have some kind of alliance. I think it was just the fact that they were both sort of these juggernauts from Survivor. And he turns on Tony and is like, yeah, man, Tony, I'm getting some vibes from you. And I don't have a lot to go off of, but I'm just getting this kind of vibe. And based on like this very nothing explanation, it was wild because the votes start coming in and it's like a majority of them were for Tony. Meanwhile, everyone like Dylan's like, wait a minute, I thought we were all like feeling Bob. I put Bob the drag queen on my card. You all are putting Tony. And I mean, it's wild. It's wild how much they were able to turn that around and how quickly. And so, yeah, we lost Tony, and he went out and what did he like said something about like, you know, you're a chump or something, like or a sellout. He said, you sold out to Rob on his way out the door. And I think that he was on to Rob. I think he knew, you are a traitor and you just sold me out for another traitor. I think Tony may have known. And that would be an interesting follow-up interview question. I'm working on getting some potential traitors on the show. So may try to get Tony and ask him what his thoughts were there, because I think he might have been onto it. But let's see what else. And then after the round table, the traitors learn that night they are not getting to go into the castle to make their murder. But in fact, they have to make a murder in plain sight, which is one of our favorites. We've had various things where, you know, someone has to touch a glass and then they get murdered from drinking from a cup, or, you know, there's some kind of like thing. And I've also, by the way, just like note, I've seen every Traitors version from every country. So I know all the different killings in plain sight. They borrow some things like it's incredible. And if you love Traitors, I definitely recommend getting into some of the other countries, because they're not celebrities in the other countries. Well, not all of them. So some of them are like B-level celebrities, but it's still incredible television. I mean, the game is so well put together that it's just so captivating to watch. But yeah, so they have to murder in plain sight. The challenge of it, though, is insane. They have to the things that they have to do, they have to go into this like hidden bookshelf, find this scroll. On the scroll, they have to write 3 names that make it to the short list of who they want to murder. But they all have to do it. They all have to do it and agree. So where are they all going to meet in plain sight, not to be seen, go behind this like secret door? So they finally do make their way, which is, I mean, the way that people were going into the rooms looking for the other traitors, like, okay, I'm just counting, just seeing like who's in here. Okay, I'm going to go, there's too many of you in here. I'm going to go find another space. And then then they're all going behind the bookshelf. And then people started being like, where is everyone? I feel like there's like a lot of people missing. So 4 people out of the game, like behind a secret bookshelf, people are going into the bar where this secret entryway is. Now, producers are obviously like making Bob sound super loud while Robin's in there like making a drink. Don't think Robin heard anything, but I don't know. They're also showing it, so maybe that does come up later. But, you know, they're back there. They're like throwing out things like, oh, we could put a traitor in the box or on the list. And because the box, eventually they're going to end up in coffins. So we could put one in there. So they're like, Carolyn's not even in there. They're like, let's put Carolyn. And Rob's like, Carolyn's not going in. She doesn't want to do this. Like, that's not going to make sense for her. She's going to end up being a target if she does that. That doesn't make sense. He's like trying to rally everyone. Carolyn walks in. They're like, do you want to be on the list? She's like, absolutely not. So we don't really know who they landed with, because there was like a lot of names being thrown out, but we didn't really get to what are those 3 people. And then Gabby walks in to get some water. And it seems as though some of the folks are going to leave the secret room. Gabby's like, what's going on? She seems really confused. And here's my take on this, because she's giving like some really weird, like, what's happening. And I think she walked by the room and she saw the cameras facing at the door because the people were about to come out. And I think she thought people were in the room being filmed because there's cameramen in there. And if there's no one from the cast in there, why would the cameras be in there capturing just an empty room? So I think that her whole confused look is because she's like, wait, why are cameras in here? And who's in here? So she kind of like goes in the room, she grabs the water and she goes to leave. But then she's like, wait, what's going on? So she walks back in. And as we are going to end the episode, two of the girls come out, or the two girls from the Traitors, Danielle and Carolyn, are coming out of the bookshelf. And it seems as though maybe Gabby sees them, but we don't know. It's a big tease. It's like, now we have to wait for the next episode and to find out what happened. But I think that if they get revealed, like, we're cooked, right? Like, I mean, if their secret door gets revealed, like, everyone's out. Like, I don't understand. So I don't know that that's going to happen, but I do think that's where Gabby's like confusion, like the looks that she had, because she looked confused. And I think she was just like, when she was almost looking directly at the camera. So I feel like she was looking at the cameraman being like, what's going on? Like, or what are you filming? So yeah, so that is the first 3 episodes, guys. Are you as like bought in? Is this living up to the hype? Like, I would love to hear your thoughts. You can find me on socials at CM Vetrano. I'm on all the socials. Instagram's probably the best one. TikTok's about to close down, I guess. I'm not really on Twitter. I still have my account live, so I will get your notes if you're there. But I would find me on Instagram. I think that's where I'm going to probably like settle in. But yeah, but I would love to hear from you. And like, what are your thoughts? Because this was also a 3-episode binge, and I felt like it wasn't long enough. I needed like way more. And when it ended, I needed to see so much more. I needed to know what was going to happen. I need to know who's getting murdered. I need the game to get back on track. And if it's another housewife, again, I'm going to riot. So, but I don't know how we're going to do it now where we're just getting 1 episode a week. It just doesn't seem enough. So, but I'm not going to be doing a podcast every week to give my thoughts, but I do want to check in with all of you and let you know what I'm thinking. I want to hear what you're thinking. So again, follow me at CM Vetrano on Instagram or any of the platforms that you're on. Let me know. Slide into my DMs. Let me know what you're thinking. Are you loving the season? Who do you love? Who are you upset that our housewives are going too soon? I want to know it all. And yeah, and again, before we go, just continue to give what you can to help those in need in LA. So many people losing, again, not just like the belongings, they're losing the memories. And so let's all put our hearts out to them, because I can't imagine if everything that I had to remind me of, these memories and all of the family heirlooms and the things that I have around my house that have been passed down to me, just suddenly were gone. Like, you cannot replace those things. And so, I'm thinking about everyone in LA, and of course, I hope that you all are sending loved ones to your family and friends that are there, and that everyone stays safe. But that will do it for this episode. Happy New Year. We are here, and we've got some interviews coming up that I'm very excited about. Like I said, I'm working on a couple of folks, maybe even from the Traitors, that are going to join. We've got some really fun guests coming to talk pop culture and all things that they've got going on. So we are in it in the new year. And until next episode, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.